because of the freedom it offers. 1,000 is more than enough to get by on a month. Even 500 at the top, if you're by yourself and you're living sensibly. My living costs are on the low end, below £500 a month.
This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, and today we have Simon. Simon?
Hello there, Dan.
Welcome to the
Hi.
channel.
Thank you. Pleased to meet you.
So Simon, what country are you from, and where are we sitting today?
Right. I am from England, but we are sitting in Asuncion, Paraguay.
Yes, Paraguay in South America.
South America, yes.
And how long have you been living here?
I've been here for 24 years now. 24 years in Paraguay.
4 years. So you must like it.
I've got to like it. I've got used to it. I know how the country works.
Right.
And I'm out in the countryside, so I really get a feel for the country.
And we're in the capital, but you live about, what, 2 hours from here?
Yes, I'm just outside a little town called 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢, which is in the hills, about 2 hours away from here.
And have you decided to buy a house, or are you renting?
I bought some land initially,
Okay.
a small sugarcane plantation.
Okay.
Had that cleared, and then had a house built.
Okay.
So I own my land, own my house, because it's fairly straightforward here to buy land and build a house.
So as a foreigner, can you put it in your own personal name, or is...
Absolutely, you can put it in your own personal lane. You could be a tourist and you could theoretically buy a house. You just have to make sure what you're buying is properly titled. Just make sure you do all the checks beforehand, but no problem with it being in your own name.
Great. And so you probably, by the way, we'll talk about Simon's channel. You have a YouTube channel and a web page.
I do indeed.
And you probably help people find like a lawyer or that kind of thing if they're looking to buy? Or what are your thoughts about that?
Yes, I can do that. So rather than the lawyer, I've got a notary who I've used for years in 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢, who's quite traditional. All her files are still brown manila files, so she's slow, but she's efficient and very, very helpful. And I've also got some local contacts who sell land, have got houses for sale, because much of Paraguay is offline still. So to find a property, to find anything, helps to be on the ground. You're not going to find much just doing a web search.
So why do people move to Paraguay? It's getting more traffic lately online. You hear about it.
Yes.
People talk about different reasons about why they come here. What are some of the things people talk about when they're coming to Paraguay, and why?
People tend to come to Paraguay because of the freedom it offers.
Okay.
I meet a lot of people who've come out here, see my YouTube channel, visit me to answer all their questions and show me around a bit. And the vibe I very much get is they like the freedom, they like the open space, in the countryside, the clean air, all the greenness, and just to be allowed to live life how they want to. In addition to which, Paraguay is a fairly straightforward country to become a resident of, which is another plus.
Okay. Tell us about that. How do you become a resident?
Well, to become a resident, you become a temporary resident, and then 2 years down the line, you jump through the same hoops to become a permanent resident. It's very much a paper chase, just collecting all the right bits of paper, birth certificates, marriage certificates, and then over here in Paraguay, police reports and 2 or 3 other things. It's a relatively straightforward process, but most people do get one of the many residency lawyers or general people who do residency to help them out, because different government offices don't speak to each other in Paraguay. So to do it yourself, you need a lot of patience, because you have to go to many, many different offices, and it's around in circles. I did mine myself, and it's not difficult, but you need a lot of patience. So paying for somebody to do it, to know where to go, takes all that worry away.
So in qualifying for a residence, most of my audience is getting near or at retirement years.
Yes.
Is there an amount per month pension you have to show from out of the country, or what's that about?
In the first stage of becoming a temporary resident, there's none of that. There's no financial requirements at all. There are requirements once you become a permanent resident. You have to show that you basically have enough money not to become a burden on the state. Not doing residency myself. I don't know the exact figure, but I do know the bar is fairly low. You've not got to have a huge income to prove that you're enough, but a pension is sufficient.
Right. So have people thrown around a number? Is it in the thousands or?
I think it's nearer 8,000. It's that sort of ballpark figure.
And what's that in pounds?
Well, no, £1,000 or $1,000. It's all pretty much that sort of ballpark.
Okay. So it's a reasonable amount. Many people's pension would probably be more
absolutely,
than that.
Yes.
And you mentioned something great. So you're not a resident yet. Do you just?
No, I'm a resident, but I'm not a citizen.
Oh, you're not a citizen.
Yeah.
So you've gone through from temporary to permanent.
Yeah.
And but you're not deciding not to be a citizen yet?
No.
So you're just a citizen of the UK?
That's it, yes.
I see.
Yes.
Why did you make that decision?
I quite like having my British passport. And to go back and forth to Britain, I have no need to become a citizen of Paraguay because I'm not seeking to break away from Britain. I'm just living somewhere else.
Okay. And so the British passport is one of the strongest, so you're able to go through much of the world, certainly home, without much trouble getting visas and that sort of thing. If you wanted a Paraguay passport, would you have to give up your British? Or would it just be something you would ask?
You would theoretically have to give it up.
Right.
Britain doesn't allow dual citizenship.
Oh, okay.
If you did it on the quiet and didn't tell Britain, you could, but if down the line you get discovered, that could potentially be a lot of problems. So I just don't go there and stick with my strong passport.
Yeah, that's a great passport. What made you come to Paraguay in the first place?
Well, really, it was just chance I came to Paraguay. I worked in British retail banking for 15, 16 years. And around a millennium, it was changing. I like to do all the mathematical back office stuff. That was being centralised, so I could see my job was disappearing. So wanted to take a year out just to rethink my options.
Right.
Didn't want to go backpacking because I would just take a load of photos and never really meet anybody.
Yeah.
After 6 months of research, found a little tiny advert for a woman who was setting up a teaching project in the Paraguayan countryside, saying that she wanted enthusiastic people without any experience of teaching. Thought that's fine for me. I'll be in one place for a long time, so I'll get to know it. Paraguay was really off the map back then, so I did that. Taught English for a year and a half. And then thought I'd give it a go, see whether I could live out here. It all worked out nicely, so it just smoothly flew from one thing to another.
How long were you here before you bought your residence? Or bought your home, I should say.
I was a year and a half teaching English.
Right.
And then I just rented somewhere for probably 3, maybe 6 months while I found somewhere suitable.
Right.
And then bought my land.
And you bought yours some time ago then.
Yes.
But I saw a video on your channel.
Yeah.
By the way, what's the name of your channel?
My channel is Simon's Paraguay.
Okay, I saw a video on your Simon's Paraguay where you were walking down the street and you were showing places for sale on your street.
Yeah.
And you showed one that you said it'd be £30,000.
Yep.
And include the land and the house, but it needed some remodels.
Yes, needs some remodels.
So that's one example.
Yes.
And then you showed a few with vacant. So it sounds like the land here is pretty reasonable.
Yes. It has gone up a lot since I've been here. It's going up every year, but in relative terms, it's still reasonable. And although the properties are going up in price, they're nowhere near the top of the market. So whatever somebody pays, even if it's top end, within a couple of years, they'll be back in profit. So yeah, land is reasonable. Location is what really affects the price of land. The nearer you are to Asunción, the higher the price.
Which is the capital city.
Which is the capital city.
Right.
The further away you get, price does drop off. And really out in the wilds, out somewhere like the Chaco, which is the scrub forest that forms the northern half of Paraguay, very cheap up there, but it's a harsh landscape. So you get what you pay for.
Okay. So you mentioned a difference in living costs. When you're living out, you're a couple hours from the capital.
Yes.
Other expats I've seen with videos and whatnot are living outside the capital. What's the difference in living? Like, if you talk to expats, what are examples maybe of low up to high of a range of living costs per month that people are paying. If you'd like my free ebook about how I fired my boss and traveled the world for 17 years and how I pay for things, come to Vagabond Buddha and grab the free ebook up to high of a range of living costs per month that people are paying to live here in Paraguay.
By far the highest living costs is in the modern built-up part of Asuncion, the district of Villamora and around, where some of the rents can be almost European in their price.
Right.
But once you get out to where I am, about 2 hours away, you can get a house rented a couple of £100 a month, depending on how you want, whether you're by yourself or with a family. Just a few £100 a month in all other expenses. Groceries aren't that expensive. Water and electric are very cheap.
If you have a rent of a couple £100 and your other expenses are a couple hundred, it's feasible to be under 1,000.
Oh, quite easily, yes, if you're sensible.
Okay.
It's also possible to spend more than that.
Sure.
But if you live sensibly, 1,000 is more than enough to get by on a month.
Right. And then there's always expats that come in and they buy the new car and they want,
That's it. Yes.
What's that rate? What's that upper end like for people that? I mean, there's no top.
There is no top. Yeah, as I say, the Villamora district in Asuncion.
Right.
That is top end. Yeah. If you are to buy a new top of the range car, it's going to be pretty much the same cost as it would be in Europe. It would be in the States.
Right.
So that's what's going to burn your money. Or if you're in a very high-end apartment, say here in the smart part of Asuncion, the modern Asuncion, or just outside Asuncion, there are a number of gated communities with very fancy apartments in them. Those, again, high-end, not far. You could pay a similar rent over in the UK.
Right, right. So 1,000 on up, I guess it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even 500 and up, if you're by yourself and you're living sensibly.
Expats come here, they live here. If they're single, what's the dating environment like?
It's difficult. I am single. I'm still single. I have dated a few Paraguayans. Paraguayan women can be expensive. They can also be quite emotionally draining, which for an Englishman isn't something that I want to deal with. So they tend to, it's not that easy. It's easy to get into a relationship, but it's hard to find the sort of person who's the right person long term.
Right.
It can be quite problematic, can be quite demanding and quite emotionally wearing.
Okay. And so is there online dating, or do they meet people just wandering about, or how does that work?
I think here in the capital, here in Asuncion, there is some online dating, but outside it's going to be meet people wandering about. More often than not, it's a friend of a friend will be introduced to you.
Okay.
That happened to me a few times. Somebody knew of somebody who was needing a partner.
But if you want to date, there is interest here to date.
Oh, yes. Foreigners are looked upon as people with more worldly experience, with more knowledge than a local Paraguayan who's lived all his life in the countryside.
Right. In that regard, you have a step up, maybe.
You definitely do, yeah. But you need to be speaking Spanish.
Okay.
Because English doesn't get you very far in the countryside.
And this is not a country where English is spoken much, is it?
No. A small privileged minority have the funds to pay for the private education, but...
Right. Can I ask what your living costs are per month?
My living costs are, on the low end, below £500 a month.
Wow. And so you're not suffering much from property tax or that kind of thing?
No. I pay my property tax annually out in the interior. There are two rates. There's the urban rates,
right,
and there's the rural rates.
Right.
Technically, anything in the countryside, outside the towns, is technically a farm, and I get charged. My rates is on how much land I've got per year. It's less than £100.
Wow. Man, there's some people going, what?
What?
That's crazy. What about safety? What's safety feel like here?
It is a very safe land. People are They're welcoming. They are helpful. As with anywhere in the world, there are areas and people to be avoided. But Paraguay does not have, like Brazil does, favelas of poor people. Walk around any Paraguayan town or city and you will see that it's integrated. A mansion might be next door to a shack. Expensive Range Rover might be parked next to an ox cart. So there's not big barriers of poor people with a grudge because they are part of the community already. So it's pretty safe. Yeah, I've never had any trouble anywhere in Paraguay. You know where not to go. There are a few places to be avoided, but there's no reason to go to them.
So tell us about your channel and what you like to talk about.
I started my channel mainly to show people Paraguay.
Right.
I don't do it I try not to put my opinions. I just show people around Paraguay because I looked on the internet and saw there was very little, just this is Paraguay.
Right.
For people to look at. I try and film either around my local town or around the capital or other towns, country sites, just showing what it looks like for people to see Paraguay like it really is.
Right.
Rather than an edited version.
And you also share information about Paraguay.
I do.
As you show it.
Yes,
which is nice for people. Like I mentioned, the video where you're showing land for sale in your neighborhood and whatnot. And you also have a web page so people can contact you to ask questions.
I do indeed.
And what's that?
That's also in the name Simon's Paraguay.
.com.
To keep everything clean and simple. There's also an Instagram, also Simon's Paraguay, keeps it all clean and simple.
Very nice.
And yes, I'll give out the information so people can contact me, and I often have people contact me. They've come to Paraguay, read my blog or seen some videos, and I will then meet people, take a day or so, showing them around and at the same time answering their questions, because it is better in person to answer all these questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. The landscape here is beautiful. How would you describe it?
It is beautiful. It's very green. That's probably the best way to describe it. Everywhere is either trees or grasslands. Much of Paraguay is lowland, so it's flat, open, almost like an Argentinian pampas, with the grass carrying on forever. Around where I am in 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝐻, it's an area called Cordillera, and it's hills. So although they're far from being mountains, there's crystal clear country streams up there, sheer cliffs to look at, ideal for walking and relaxing. It's only 2 hours from the sunshine as well.
Again, thanks for coming on the channel, Simon. And everyone go on over to Simon's Paraguay.
Yes, please do.
On YouTube and check out his webpage too.
Yep.
Put her there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dan.
Grab my free ebook if you want to know the 10 things you need to do before you leave your home country. And watch this video here if you'd like to see me tour around the capital of Asunción.